a little bit like I'm about to fall asleep. How about you guys? Hey y'all, I am just finishing up putting in the details here in the video description and making sure everything's ready to go. While I'm doing that, why don't you open up that chat feature and say hello and let me know where you're joining me from today. I would appreciate that. Let me hit save on this, and then I have got to get my phone hooked up. My phone isn't hooked up yet for you guys to see what we're going to do with the Latvian braid. We're going to do the Latvian braid, you guys. Super excited about that because some of you already jumped ahead and added the Latvian braid to your brim of your BiCrafty community complimentary hat. And I was like, yep, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that because that is awesome. So that's what I decided I was gonna do for this next step. And it's crazy because I wanted to show you how to do it live. I didn't go ahead and work ahead. So I have my brim done, and I'm ready to do the Latvian braid live with you guys and talk you through a little bit about stranded knitting, because we're going to introduce stranded knitting here with the Latvian braid just a little bit. We're going to discuss when to twist your yarns, when not to twist your yarns, and kind of go over that process. The great thing about this is when you do stranded knitting, more often than not, um, I shouldn't say more often than not, I always teach holding yarn one in each hand. So the fact that you guys as BiCrafty are already familiar with it in your left hand, holding your right hand will actually not be that difficult. It shouldn't be that difficult. It's probably easier to pick up than vice versa. So that will be a lovely little thing. So many of you here saying hello. It's so nice to have you here. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to copy my invite link so I can send it to Catherine in case she's able to join us. I'm not really sure if she is or not, but I'm going to send it just in case she's able to join us here. But oh my gosh, so many of you, hello from Michigan. That is Debbie Clark. Truly love watching your channel, whether it be knitting or crochet. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Wendy, hello, Marley. I just tuned in. I will be making my first sweater as soon as my yarn arrives. Your tutorial is awesome. I've been watching the series over and over. Well, that makes me feel good. That was a very wonderful intro to sweater knitting, if I say so myself. I walked you through how to make things in pieces because I truly feel like that's one of the better ways to make a piece and make it for the first time. We did it plain stockinette. There's a lot of things to learn in that series. So that is really good that you are doing that, Wendy. And hello, Cindy and Rhonda and Rose and Diane and Joanne and Jan and Chelsea and Colleen and Brianna and Nick. Oh my gosh, so many of you guys here saying hello. Hi, guys. Means a lot to have you here. All right. So, and Tracy, yeah, Tracy says it's too calming. It absolutely, that music was way too calming, way too calming. Hey, what do you guys think of my new backdrop? If you've been following along, you know that Lindsay from Erin Lean Bags was here for about 4 days, and we got my studio organized. I have a new credenza essentially back there and some decorations on the wall. And then of course there's the inspiration area where all my yarn is. And then there is my sort of relaxation. I'm calling it like my fellowship area. It's where I can sit down with some friends. Chic Sheep is on the wall there. That's where my library is. And I can watch YouTube videos on my TV there. And then of course there's the actual YouTube studio available. Also, it's all up and 100% available. So that's always nice to have that on hand. But I think the backdrop looks pretty darn good. I also just went and got my nails done. So I would have had like all of this stuff all situated and ready to go. But I was like, I need to get my nails done. So I just got done, just got home. And that's why I'm a little bit behind today. But you guys, please bear with me. All right. So I'm going to open up Zoom on my phone. Hopefully, if I can get it to work here. And while I'm doing this, Tracy Ludwig, I am going to ask you to moderate today. So I'm going to add you as a moderator, if that's all right. All I'm asking you is if somebody is unruly or we're getting spammed, you just kind of kick them out or help me answer questions. That would be so fantastic. And for helping, I will give you a free pattern after today's video. If you will email me contacts@marleybird.com. I think it's contacts. I'm pretty sure it is. I will get you a code for a free pattern if you will help me out there. So hopefully that works. And Julia Herb, I'm actually going to have you help me out as a moderator as well. So I am adding you in here as a moderator. Hopefully you guys are able to help me out. Gosh darn it, I can't seem to get this to open up on my phone, which is not good. We want it to open up on the phone because we want to be able to see. While I'm doing this, I'm curious, how many of you have already got started on your hat? You have 100 stitches on your needles and you're ready to move forward. I know there's quite a few of you which are joining in, which is just so good. It makes me so happy. You know what it is I copied this. Okay, I know what it is. You know when you copy something in Facebook Messenger, but then Facebook makes you open it up in Facebook, and then it's like, that's not what you want. I want it to open up in Zoom. So it's doing it right now. All right, give me just a second. Let me see, join with. It's joining in right now. So that way we can see this. This video is being live streamed. Got it. Let's see, Wi-Fi. And there we go. So it's on mute. Let me turn this around. I'm going to have to wipe down my counter, my desk here, I think. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'll be all right. Let me see if I can get this all situated. Now you get the whole look behind the scenes here. Somebody asked where all of my crochet hooks were the other day when they saw my knitting needles getting organized. Well, my crochet hooks are there and there. That's really where I keep them. And then I have an entire bin of them essentially on my studio desk so that I have them on hand always. All right. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm jumping in. This feels so good to finally kind of get going with this a little bit here. And yeah, all right. So let me get my headphones so that way I'll be able to at least talk to you guys and make it full screen when it's time to do the Latvian braid. All righty. Oh, see, here we go. Just takes a little bit of time before I get in here. Please don't ridicule me in the comments. If you want to go ahead and smash that like button right now, that would be really handy because you know some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, she hasn't started talking yet and it's been like 10 minutes. So here I am. Oh gosh, so many of you are here. Hello from Ireland, Idaho, Florida, North Carolina, Delaware, Illinois. Hello from Indiana, Minnesota, Ontario, Canada, Tennessee. Oh, so many of you. Okay, this is great. So you guys know that I did finish the BiCrafty community cowl. So much fun. When Lindsay was here, she got started on the matchy BiCrafty community hat, but this is as far as we got before we jumped into actually organizing. So I'm going to set this aside so that way I can actually make that hat. But I do have, as I said to you before, I have the hat started on my needles for this process. You guys remember last week I started with one color and I jumped to another color for the brim of my hat just because why not? I would like to do that. And so that's what I did. And it's at this point that I transferred over to larger needles. I did not knit one round yet. I know I said for all of you guys too, I just didn't get a chance to do it. So that's the only reason I didn't do it. So I'm going to go ahead and knit one round. While I'm doing that, I'm going to open up the instructions and make sure that we're all on the same page here. Yeah, you'll notice it said change to larger needles and knit one round. So I'm going to knit my one round, but as I'm doing this, I think I dropped, there it is. I'm like, where's my marker? I don't have my marker here. And it goes right there. I tucked in my ends already. So I'm just going to just go like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get my fingers moving here. And it's after this, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the Latvian braid. Now, show of hands, how many of you have already had a peek at the Latvian braid video I did? Because, I mean, not going to lie, and I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. It's a good video. It's really informative. I think it's something that you guys could absolutely watch today and create the Latvian braid without having to sit here and watch me do the BiCrafty Bootcamp. Like, you absolutely could do that, no problem. But we're gonna do the Latvian braid together through BiCrafty Bootcamp here and kind of get through it and see how it is. Now, the other thing is, Chrissy and Catherine were both asking me, they're like, are you just going to have them do the Latvian braid this week? Or are you going to have them do that and maybe another stitch pattern? Like, what's my plan? Well, if you guys haven't picked up on this, I really don't have much of a plan. I'm kind of going by and just going by all the feels that I have. And my gut tells me that because we're going to be introducing some sort of stranded type color work with the Latvian braid, I feel like we should jump into color work because it's one of those things that could be a little bit scary, but it's not too bad. It's a really easy thing to do. So here is my thought process on that. And I'm just going to keep knitting here as we're talking. I'm thinking that we'll get through the Latvian braid today. And then tomorrow at this time, at 8 o'clock Eastern time at night, I think that we jump in and I will get back on here and I'll teach you guys how to do a stranded colorwork stitch pattern for a portion of this hat. This hat is going to have, some, gosh, I'm just losing my train of thought completely. This hat is going to have some fun stitch patterns. And like we said, it's going to be a complement to a complementary sort of hat pattern to the cowl pattern. So that way they aren't matchy-matchy, but they will go together if it's something that you wanted to wear together or give as a gift. It would be lovely. So that's kind of my thought process. I'm curious what you guys all think about that. I need to open up my chat again. I usually pull out my chat so that it's a pop out. There we go. So I'm curious what you guys think of that idea of getting through the Latvian braid tonight. And you guys could either work on it tonight with me or work on it tonight and tomorrow, and then be ready to tackle some stranded knitting the next day, a little bit more detailed. I think that's the way to go. Let's see here. Let's see, do you know what multiple we might want to aim for this? I've adjusted my stitch count due to the gauge, and I'm trying to decide what to increase to for around 8. So as far as the multiple for the stranded knitting, I'm not sure on that one yet, but I will tell you that when you're doing Latvian braid, it should be an even number of stitches. That's what you need, is an even number of stitches. So as long as you have an even number of stitches, that'll be good. And then my honest answer to that is when I decide what I want the stitch count to be for the stranded knitting, you will either increase or decrease your stitches for that, which you probably want to increase because stranded knitting tends to be a little bit tighter. And so it would be a natural thing to just increase some stitches right after the Latvian braid. Okay, you guys are cute. Whatever you decide, you're the expert. You guys are kind of going through this design process with me, which is so great. And that's what I love about calling it the BiCrafty community project, because this is really sort of our community decision of what's getting made here. All right, so the first thing we got to do when we're doing the Latvian braid, if you guys are ready, I'm going to go ahead and click over so that it's only on my hands right now. So if you guys are good with that, I'm going to transfer over to that right now. Just give me just a second. All right, so I'm on my hands. Let me get a drink of water. I'm actually going to take a cough drop. I've had a tickle in my throat all day. Get a drink of water. Okay, so first things first. We have to go around our needles. I haven't even counted my stitches. I hope I have enough stitches. We have to go around our needles, and we're going to work in knit one, purl one. I know I just knit around. That's okay. I'm okay with that. We're going to work in knit one,
purl one. Hold on, I want to make sure I'm saying exactly what's written so that way it's easier for you guys. I'm sorry, give me just a second. Jeez Louise. Do you guys ever get a tickle in your throat? And it's just like, man. Sorry guys, give me a second. My throat. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to, I think I said knit one, purl one. We're not doing that. We're going to knit all the way around. We're going to knit one in the blue and then knit one in the purple. Okay. So we're going to change colors every stitch all the way around. Now, when I do that, I usually will do it by holding one color in my right hand and one color in my left hand. You can do that as well. Or if you want to drop your yarn and pick up a color, you can do that. Here's the trick though. When you're doing it on this first round, we do not want to twist our yarn. Okay. When we're doing the Latvian braid, we will be twisting. But when we're doing this round, we do not want our yarn twisted. So here's what I do. I'm going to go ahead and knit the first one with my blue. I'm going to knit the next one with my purple. So I'm just putting the purple around my right hand needle, pop out and off. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to knit the blue. Then I'm going to knit the purple. So I'm going to go M, make sure I don't have the tail. Float this purple across and around my needle and off and up. So you can see here, I'm holding the yarn, one strand in each hand. And I will just alternate which color I use for each stitch. Now I'm just going to keep going here. If you were doing this where you can't hold your yarn in each hand, here's the thing. Say you have to drop your purple, okay? So I use my blue and then I go and I pick up my purple. Drop my purple, pick up my blue, or I could drop my blue here, pick up my purple always on top, drop my purple, pick up my blue always under. You guys see that? Drop my blue, pick up my purple. Now this is not ideal, like doing it in this manner, because it's cumbersome and it loses you lose your tension each time. But it can be done this way, okay? Ideally, you want to have one in each hand. You'll notice I'm holding them the same way. Well, I guess I'm not. Huh. I guess I never realized that. Oh my gosh, guys. I've never, no, do I? Yeah, I hold my yarn over here underneath, but over here I go over top. Oh, how interesting. I must have just started doing that because I didn't do that before. But anyways, I hold the yarn. And then as I go along, I make sure that the stitches over here are, I'm going to say spaced out the same distance that I want the stitches to be spaced out as they're worked. I don't want them to be together like this because otherwise my floats are going to be way too tight. Just like in crochet, when you carry up a color, you don't want it to be super snug or tight. You want it to be spaced out and float across appropriately. It's the same idea. So we're floating across these stitches. So we want to make sure that we're keeping those floats nice and, I'm going to say loose, but I also don't want it so loose that you're going to snag a nail or something or anything. Okay. I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to look at the chat. I got to pull up the chat. It's hidden behind all of these windows. Latvian braid after the brim. Thanks, guide. Okay. I think you guys are good here. If Catherine jumps in, I will just let her join into the call. I don't know if she's going to be able to though or not. I told her she didn't have to if she was not able to, because I was the one that had to switch the time today. I had to refilm the knit along video for the sweater because my video that I filmed the other day actually was dropping video files and it was corrupted. So I had to refilm the whole thing. Joy. So much fun to do that. But it's all done now and it's in the hands of Yarnspirations, ready for all of you who are joining in on the sweater knit along to view that on Friday. I am getting ready to do the third and last video, which includes the steeking. So I need to get that one done next. But I'm here talking to you guys now, which is good because I want to get my sweater to where that point is so I can show everybody on my sweater. All right, I know this is going to take a while, y'all, as I'm going through the Latvian braid, like we're doing this real time. But if you are here watching this and you don't have time really to go through all this, I want to remind you there is already a Latvian braid video out there for you to watch. That is mine. So you can watch that. And honestly, you'll be able to do this just by watching that video as well. And we're just going to get started with this here, get it going. So that way we're kind of working together. Let me see. Keep going. Your right hand position for throw and left your continental. Yes, that's exactly it. My right hand, I'm in my throwing position. Left hand, I'm doing continental. And here's the other thing, guys. The yarn that you hold in your left hand will be more dominant in color when you're working color work than the yarn that will be in your right hand when you hold it in this manner. And so when you're doing color work, you want to make sure you're always holding your dominant color or the color that's going to be a little bit more pronounced than the other, always in the same hand. So like if I were doing color work right now, I would not want to change which color I'm holding in each hand, like willy-nilly throughout the project, because it would show up. It shows. And there are different ways to do color work. There is twisted stranded color work. There's stranded color work. There's Danish and oops, I almost did the wrong color. There's all sorts of different ones, but this is really the most traditional stranded style that is used in America for the most part, is making sure the two colors don't intertwine as you're using them. You hold one in each hand and you do it in this manner. Now, there are people who can hold both colors in one hand and make it work. I am not that talented, but I can do this. And this takes a little bit of practice, but honestly, it looks really cool as you're doing it, right? So, all right, so I have an even number of stitches, which is good. All right, so I'm back to the start. Now, the next thing we want to do, once you go all the way around, this is considered the base of my braid. All right. It isn't visible at the bottom of the braid, but it is the horizontal line of stitches that you see between each round of stitches as you create them. Okay. So we're going to call that round 1. Round 2, we're going to bring both of these yarns to the front of our work. So we're going to go between our needles and bring them to the front of the work. At the same time, guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to bring the yarn balls to the front of the work too. And as we're doing this, as I just told you, we don't twist stitches. When you create the Latvian braid, your yarn, your working yarn will get twisted together on the first round, which, well, actually round 2. And then on round 3, we'll untwist it with the stitches as we create them. So you don't want to untwist it as you're working around this first round. It will be annoying, but it will be untwisted on the next round. Okay. So we bring both yarns forward. Let me get rid of this cough drop. I think I'm going to need a filling because I have a tender spot in my teeth. Okay. So I bring my yarn forward. Our main color, I'm calling my blue my main color. Okay. Because that was the first color I used. So with my main color, this is just so you guys know, I'm not going to hold my yarn in any particular way when I do the Latvian braid like this. I actually let go of them. I just let them kind of be there, and you're going to see why. With our main color, I'm going to purl 1 stitch. So I'm going to blue stitch with blue yarn. I'm going to purl. Okay. Next stitch, I'm going to purl the purple. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to take the purple underneath the blue. So my contrasting color underneath my main color, and I'm going to purl. And then I'm going into a blue stitch. So I'm going to want to purl it with blue, but I want to bring the blue underneath the purple. So you see the whole way, you're going to bring whatever color you're going to use underneath the color you just used. So you kind of just go around just like this, purple underneath the blue, and we'll go all the way around. And as we're doing this, we're getting our yarn twisted up, like it's all starting to get twisted, and it will be annoying. But on the next round, instead of taking our colors under the other, we'll go over, and it will make the stitches nice and untwisted. I keep saying stitches, but I mean the yarn, the working yarn will not be twisted. I'm going to do this a couple more, and then I'm going to show you what we're creating so you can see. So I'm just purling these. Always remember to go under. And this will make the little arrow of the Latvian braid point the direction that we want it to right now. But you can see here, we have our purl bump, right? But the floats, as we twist them, they are showing up underneath the purl bump. And that's what's going to give that nice line at the bottom of the braid. Okay, does that make sense? So we're going to keep going. All right, you can see my yarn's twisted. I just tend to just keep pushing it down. And if you're working with blue, you use blue. All right, so you're going to do new under old. Or you can think of it as old over new. Whatever you want to think of that as. I just always think of pulling the new one underneath the old one. I'm just going to keep going here. And as you're going along, don't forget to like move your twist down, because it will help you as you're going. Just trust me on that. These are so fun to make, and they are so beautiful. They add such a beautiful detail to your hat. I have the, I think it's called the Chill Out hat that has the Latvian braid on the bottom and then some color work in the body, which you guys will be able to do after tomorrow's lesson. If you guys are cool with doing the color work, you'll be able to absolutely do that hat without any problem. All right, so I'm moving my twist down some more, give myself some room. I used to think that Latvian braids were the coolest thing, and I just didn't know how to do them. And for whatever reason, like I just had a brain block with them. And then I had a teacher friend show me how to do them. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so easy. She was like, yeah, it really is. And I'm like, I have no idea where my block was for as far as understanding. But as soon as she showed me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is fabulous. I'm like, if we started this one where we went over instead of under, and then we did the second one where it was under instead of over, our arrows that are going to kind of show up from the braid would go the opposite direction. And so that's how you could make them go opposite ways if you wanted to do multiples of these. Like I know that there are some patterns out there where there's like Latvian braids on top of Latvian braids, and they look really cool. Just want to make sure, you know, everything is nice and neat and not too tight, because the last thing you want is for this to be so snug that now the brim of your hat no longer fits. That would suck, like major, right? All right, I know your guys' yarn is getting as twisted as mine, I'm sure. Just keep pushing it down. Keep pushing it down. Almost there. Once you get through this round, I think the next round is easier, personally. Something about this round, as the stitches are not stitches, the yarn is getting more and more twisted, I find it difficult to do. I'm not, somebody is asking about managing tension. I'm not really doing that. I'm just kind of making sure as my stitches are made. Let me wipe this down a little bit. Not wipe it, but shove it down. As my stitches are made and I'm going over, I'm just kind of making sure that the yarn's pulled a little bit snug, I guess. I don't want it like so snug that my wraps or not my wraps, my floats are so tight, because then the hat won't fit. Like the brim will be so snug, you won't have any give in it. So you do want a little bit of wiggle room. Just relax and enjoy this process. This should be an enjoyable thing as you're going around. I think it is. And I guess, I mean, you can see here, I'm holding my yarn and I'm just kind of, I find like a rhythm that I go underneath one, pick it up, and then go underneath one, pick up the one underneath, just keep going like that. Just keep the process going. So let's see here. Brianna is saying she just finished the first row and her floats are awesome and gorgeous. That's fantastic. I really hate how twisted this gets. It drives me nuts. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but it's almost done. I keep telling myself when I do these, like, okay, it's only for a little bit. Just a little bit of pain for a lot of beauty. It's okay. Oops. Alrighty. If you guys got a chance to watch the organization of my studio, you know that there's a contest going on right now. If you guess correctly or as close as possible without going over how many signature needles I own, you could win some yarn. I have some yarn, some really beautiful alpaca yarn that I am offering up as a prize. So if you have not made a guess on that video, you should absolutely go and do that. And don't forget to smash the like button of that video, please, because that is important. Very, very important. I haven't been doing a whole lot of videos lately, except these lives, you know. So I need to really get back in my studio and get some videos made that are for general consumption, not just BiCrafty Bootcamp or the knit along or the game day or the tournament of stitches or what have you. So I need to get back in there and get to it. All right, so I'm coming up to the end. I'm going to do my purple. And here's something, guys. As you slip your marker, this first stitch, the one we did to begin with, we want to do that one. And this is the first one of round 3, essentially. We're going to go underneath just for this first one. Okay, just for that first one. Now, all the remaining ones, look how twisted. This is so twisted. All the remaining ones, we're going to go over top. Look how pretty that is so far. Isn't that gorgeous? And if you twisted your yarn correctly, this is what it looks like all the way around. It's just really super pretty. I like it. It appeases me. Alrighty. Okay. Remember, do not take the time to untwist. It's going to be untwisted on this next round. Okay. All right. So we're going to purl main color and we're going to bring the contrasting color over the main color to untwist. Okay. So we did this one. That's the only one we went under. This one, we're going to go over. So now the yarn is already there waiting for us, right? Because it's already twisted over. So it's really kind of easy. If you can separate them apart, the yarn is already there waiting to be grabbed. Like it's just kind of there. And then the purple. The trick here is to get the twist down far enough to where you can get to it, because it wants to be twisted way up here at the top, you know. All right. Where are we? We're at the blue. So I'm going to go over at the blue. Come over with purple. Come over with blue. So on and so forth. So I'm going to keep going here. I know you guys are loving this. You know what? You're going to be able to show all your friends and family online, in person, be like, look what I made. I mean, there are a lot of knitters who've never done a Latvian braid before. So this is a big deal, you guys. Feel free to brag. Feel free to use hashtag BiCrafty Bootcamp, hashtag Marley Bird, hashtag MMMDI. So 3 M's DI, which is Marley made me do it. You guys are becoming like the best knitters. It's really fantastic. And the great thing here is that you guys hopefully are learning that nothing is ever too difficult, right? It's all just sticks and string. Half the time, it's just a matter of concentration, following the directions correctly. There are some trickier type techniques out there, like double knitting, I find tricky. Brioche, I don't find it as tricky, except if I have to unravel it or fix a mistake. I find that a little bit tricky and it scares me still. But other than that, there's not a lot of things that I'm super afraid of because it's just sticks and string. When you break it down to the bare basics of it all, it's like, all right, I got this. Marley said I can do this. You can do this. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Tracy says being organized should help you get to the new videos. Absolutely, Tracy. On top of that, I mean, I've got so many other things happening right now. I'm in the middle of designing the BiCrafty Games shawl with Robin Chichula. And Robin's actually coming next week to film videos for that so that it's ready to go. So I have got to get mine on the needles. Now that everything is organized and, oh, you guys haven't seen it yet. I have a winding station. I cannot wait to show you. I purchased one of the table things from Charm and Charlie's that was like their earring piercing pagoda sort of area. And it's a cart and it's like the perfect winding station. I can't wait to show you guys. So I'm going to be winding up some yarn so that you guys can see what it looks like. But I was waiting to get a Knit Picks ball winder in so that way I could use that before I could wind up yarn. And now that that's all in and the winding station is all done up and it's over in where I'm calling the inspiration station, inspiration corner. It's over there, just perfectly patient and waiting for all of that lovely yarn to be spun up and used. And it's just fantastic. I love having everything organized. My needles, like Lindsay went, gosh, beyond expectation on the needle organization. Like I had to go to track practice and I came back and she had left me a message and it said, hey, I had to go to Target. I had an idea for organizing and I'm going with it. So she went to Target and bought a whole bunch of like these organizer things. Like these are the extras that she had. And she has these in my drawers organizing all of my needles. Like it's super impressive, you guys. Like it's so amazing. She did such an amazing job. So the needles are a huge project of it. And then I'm in the middle of actually going through a bunch of yarn that has been discontinued and that I no longer need. So I've been giving that away to people in my knitting guild and the local knitting club at the high school. So I'm getting cleared up there. And then just having everything clean really creates those creative juices, makes everything flow, and it makes me want to be in front of the camera. I do wish I had somebody who was like interested in video editing and video storytelling and creating, who could record my videos for, like I could record my videos and they could edit and create the story with the videos. Like that's something I'm super jealous of Expression Fiberworks. That's what it is, right? I think that's what she, her company, like she has amazing videos and they're just really good because her husband is a videographer, photographer. And it's like, I want somebody like that in my life because I'm struggling doing it all, you know? And so I have to remember there are things that I'm really good at and there's things that I should be able to, I want to say farm out. But I haven't found anybody, one, that I can afford or that I like their work enough to pay what they're asking. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's crazy. Let me get my, can't wait for Marley and Robin outtakes. If you guys only saw half of our outtakes, you only saw the first one from us filming the socks. We were just trying to do like a promotional and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. It was crazy early for us to be like that goofy. But I was eating Ruffles and drinking coffee. So my breath smelled awful, I'm sure. It was just funny. We were just hyped up. It was really fun. Robin and I have a great time. So she'll be here filming again. It's nice that I live here in Indiana and we're so close to so many different things. You know, I'm only 5 hours from where Lindsay lives. I'm only 5 hours from another direction where Robin lives. And so it's a nice little hub sort of location here. And look at that, guys. We're almost at the end and my yarn is getting untwisted, which makes me super happy. So this would be considered round 3. And if you're following the directions, it tells you that if you've done this correctly, every stitch of the round has been completed. Let's see here. I'm going to skip this. Your 2 yarns will become totally untwisted and ready to work. See that? Okay. And here we are. Here is our Latvian braid. You can see it kind of has that arrow pointing that way. Now we could go through and we could do one more round of one of each color, or just one round of just one color. I'm actually going to go through. I'm not going to use the purple. I'm going to go through with my blue and do one round of knit with just the blue. So I'll write that in the instructions. I'm going to do one round of the blue just because. And then that's where I'm going to leave it until tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to do one round of the blue. So I'm going to leave the purple attached. I'm not going to undo it. Okay, I'm not going to undo it. I moved it back. I'm just going to go through, go around, knit. You guys see this? So I'm just going to knit one round. Knit, knit, knit. So pretty. Can you fix mistakes? Do you mean in Latvian braid? If you have a mistake, you have to just tink back. I mean, I want to say there's no fixing it. Like that's the best way to do it. It's just going to be taking back and fixing a mistake. Unless you want to take your yarn after the fact and essentially work a duplicate stitch to cover up. Maybe you put 2 stitches or something, but even if you did that, you're going to be off for quite a bit. So it's better to just frog everything back. Brianna says, I love this. Donna says, so pretty. Rose says, I find myself talking back as if you can hear me while I knit. Rose, I wish I could hear you because it's really hard to sit here and talk to myself. Yes, Expression Fiber Arts videos. I mean, she's delightful. She is one of the most kindest people I've ever met before, but I love her videos and the way they're put together so artistically with her videographer husband who does all that. I want that. I want to be able to do that. But that's it, guys. I mean, how cool is that? This stitch pattern, I mean, yeah, it's a stitch technique, I guess. Packs a visual punch, and it is not super hard. It is something you could absolutely do. And it's a fun way to add something just a little bit extra to something very simple. You could do a Latvian braid around, like, think of this as a cuff of a sweater. So you could do a Latvian braid around the cuff of a sweater. You could do it around a collar of a neck. You could do it around a hat. You could do it around socks, mittens, gosh, cowl, anything, right? Like, it's just one of those fun things. And you could do it like we did this one, right? Where the arrows are pointing, let's see, they're pointing towards the right. And then, like I said, remember, if you went the opposite way, they would point to the left. So you could do one going one way, one going the opposite way. It's just a fun thing. It's a fun play on those floats. It's a way to use the floats as a decorative feature. I love it. I think it's really cool. I love this. Beautiful texture, Jan says. I agree. Lunacra, Lunasra. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. I'm trying. Says, I was knitting along, but then the baby decided he must be held. Mom life. Oh, girl, I understand. I remember that. Soak it in while you can, because right now my boys are upstairs upset that I haven't made dinner because I went and got my nails done. So they're like, what am I going to eat? What are we going to eat? I said, there's soup. eat cans of soup. To which Caden's reply was, well, what did you eat? What have you eaten today? I said, I had cheese and salami. Like, that's all I've had today. So don't act like I went out to eat without you or anything like that. I went and got my nails done. And I only did that because I have to do videos and my nails looked horrendous. Like, you know, there's only so much you can bear with, right? Okay. So there it is. There's your Latvian braid. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. I love it. All right. So as I said, keep the purple or whatever color you're using, keep it attached. We will use the purple and the blue, and we will do a stranded color work pattern above this. So this will be the next portion of our hat. We'll do some stranded color work. I plan on also showing you how to do cables. And I thought about doing some slip stitch color work on here also. I thought that might be really cool. My biggest fear with that though is I want to make sure we don't make things too tight. But I wanted to have this as a big swatch, hat swatch, with some color work and some color work features to it. We could even do color work cables. Like that would be something fun to do also. I mean, guys, these would be considered intermediate techniques that you're doing, and you're doing fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so I'm going to switch microphones. All right, here, let's see if you can hear me on this one. Hopefully you can. And I'm going to go back to speaker view. I think I'm still on speaker view right here. All right. Good evening, y'all. Yes, colorwork cables. Colorwork cables are fun. Well, you need another tool for a cable. You will need a cable needle. Although I will also show you how to cable without a cable needle. That's actually my preferred way of doing cables. I very seldom will use a cable needle. I often cable without a cable needle because I find it easier to do so. It's just one of those things that cable needles and me, I just find them cumbersome, and which is funny because you guys know I like all the tools and I have all the tools. I have a lot of cable needles. I just don't use them very often. Let's see here. I hope so. Thank you for the vote of confidence, Tammy. Julia is saying that to Tammy. I think you guys are going to do great. Colorwork cables. I will let you know I'm going to be doing some colorwork cables in a class format. Gosh, either in August or October with Prime. I'm not sure which one, but I'm going to be doing a big colorwork cable class with them. On top of that, the other classes I do with Prime, you guys, it's usually a series of 3 classes. And for $29, you get all 3 classes, and they're 2-hour classes, and they're all a Zoom class, and you're able to join in as part of the conference call. So you actually can show me your work and you know, unmute your microphone and ask me questions and stuff. So it's a really great opportunity. So make sure when we promote those Prime classes, you do check them out because they are very, very useful. And it is a great way for you to, you know, straight up ask questions and get a lot of answers right there for you. It's awesome. I'm stuck in old over new brain, starting the next row now. I understand, guys. I always had to say under, and then over. That just resonated with me. So that's how I have to remember mine. Tammy says, thank goodness I'm slow and knitting is new to me, and I rewatch these videos a lot. That's fantastic. You know what? That's what they're here for. And honestly, guys, some of the other videos were there for a specific pattern. If the pattern has a technique, maybe that interests you, maybe the pattern as a whole does not interest you, but there's a technique involved with it, I highly recommend watching those videos because you always learn something new in my videos. I might say something a different way, teach something a different way. So they always come in handy, definitely. Let's see here. I'm going to come up here. It's like a magic trick, somebody says about the Latvian braid. I could not agree more. Okay, so Tracy says those boys should learn videography for you. I agree. I totally agree. My boys should learn how to do videography. But for whatever reason, they aren't. Like they're just like, oh, let me edit your videos. But they just want to cut and splice, and it's not
It's not what I want. But anyways, okay, so here's the deal. So that took us about a little bit less than an hour because it took me some time to get things situated up here. But how fun is that to learn something really intricate like that and finding out it's really not that difficult. It's still just purling. Remember when I told you guys that a lot of the techniques that seem like they're really daunting and confusing, you really are just combining knits and purls. And with this particular technique, you're just purling the whole way. The true technique of it is the way you're twisting your yarn together to create the stitch pattern. Now, what's going to be interesting is tomorrow when we talk about stranded knitting, we do not want to twist our yarn. So just as with this one, when we started off doing the one for one color for one color, and I didn't twist the stitches or twist the yarn, we didn't twist the yarn together. We're going to do that again. So when we do stranded knitting, we do not twist our yarn. We want to keep them as singular floats that it's going to be one on top of the other. And so we'll dive into that. So here's what I'm going to do tonight. I am going to play around with a couple of stitch patterns, decide which one I want to use. And then tomorrow at 8 o'clock here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel, we'll go live again. I'll put the instructions out there. We will learn how to read a chart because when you're doing, color work and stuff, you want to be able to read charts. So we're going to talk about reading a chart. It's really quite easy, you guys. You can do it. I mean, especially if you've read a corner to corner chart or a graph Gantt chart or anything like that, as far as like where the colors go, that's essentially what it's like. It's like a paint by number. It's saying, hey, in this stitch use blue, and this stitch use green, and this stitch use blue, and these 3 stitches use green. Like, you know, it's really that simple. So we will do that. We will learn the stitch pattern, do some color work, and advance a little bit more on this hat. As you work on your Latvian braids, do me a favor, guys, post on social media, post it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on TikTok, whatever it is, and make sure you tag me or in some way let people know about BiCrafty Bootcamp. That helps me out so much. Like, that's such a great way to show support for what we're doing out here for you guys. Like, that is so fantastic. And we really do look for the hashtag Marley Bird or hashtag BiCrafty Bootcamp on Instagram. So that way we can go and love your projects. It's really fantastic. Okay. Okay. So last week we talked about you guys leaving a comment, letting us know what your favorite part of BiCrafty Bootcamp is. I'm pretty sure we were going to give away a prize, but because Chrissy's not here, I'm going to hold off on that. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to give a prize out. It's just I'm going to wait for Chrissy to come in. However, I am going to say for all of you watching this video, whether you're watching live or after the fact, whenever it is, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead, smash that like button. You guys know, please just do that right now. And when this video is over, not in the live chat, but in the comment section of the video, I want you to tell me what 2 colors you are going to use for your Latvian braid. All right. I want to know what 2 colors you plan on using for your Latvian braid. Okay. And we will randomly pick somebody who leaves a comment on tomorrow's video. So tomorrow's video, I will pick a comment from tonight's video. All right. So you have 24 hours, a little bit less than that because it's, you know, we're going to go live at 8 o'clock tomorrow and it's 9 o'clock now. But you have a little less than 24 hours to leave that comment, and the winner will get a free pattern from the Marley Bird Ravelry store. Okay. So you'll get a free pattern. There's lots of patterns to choose from. So you have a chance to win that. Again, you have to put your color in the comment section of this video, not just in the live part. It has to be in the comments. So please make sure you've smashed that like button, leave your comments on the video, and good luck with your Latvian braid, you guys. I'm excited to see them all. I seriously cannot wait. I will see you guys tomorrow night, and we will dive into some stranded knitting. All right, that's it for me, everybody. I will talk to you again very soon.